Hi, I'm Kathleen. Today I'd like to show you how I installed the Everbilt Undermount soft close slide set for my kitchen drawers with a frameless cabinet. My kitchen has standard track home installation drawers. They have a guide at the top that they hang from, and they make a lot of noise. What I want are soft close drawers like this. The first drawer slides I installed were on drawers that were above a cabinet, so it gave me some room to work. I needed to locate the wall studs and add a board across the back wall to mount the slide brackets to. Now the slides I'm using are 21 inches, which I understand is standard for kitchen cabinets. The measurement is based on the distance from the front to the back wall of the cabinet, not on the drawer size. These are the tools that I used for the installation. Okay, these are the items that came in the Everbilt Undermount Glide Kit. There were instructions which were very difficult to understand, and mostly we used to figure out which screws went where. There's a large packet of screws. We only used a few for our frameless cabinet, but I imagine if you have a cabinet with a frame and you're going to be using some of these side holes, then you would use more of those. We never did figure out what these little items were for. I couldn't find them in the instructions. These are the brackets that are going to go on the underside of the drawer, and they attach the drawer to the glides. And this inside part seemed to be more trouble than it was worth. It kept getting in the way of our operation, so we just removed that, and they worked just fine without it. And the last parts are these little plastic pieces, which will attach this extender. This will slide on here, and then this side will attach right in here. Although I'm on the bottom drawers, and so I think I'm going to be attaching it so the bracket goes up so I can reach the screws. So as I open this drawer here, if I want to remove the drawer, I need to pull back on this little lever, and it's on the bracket that's on the underside. I'll show you in just a second. So I'm going to pull back on that lever, and it releases the drawer, so then it can be removed. And I'll show you the brackets as they're mounted there underneath. You really want to make sure that those are down tight against the bottom of the drawer. If your drawer has a back like this ridged back along the edge here, you would have to notch out to allow for the glides. They're going to go right in the sides here, like this. And you go right there. So they have to sit flat against the bottom of the drawer. Mine didn't have that on there, so I didn't have to worry about that. However, my drawer is a little too short for the glides as they are. I had to add some wood here. Mine were only 18.5 inches long. I had to add a piece of wood because on the brackets there's this little notch that has to go into the end here, and that's what keeps the drawer down solid against the bracket. So when it's in place and locked in, it's locked in at this front end here. It'll lock in here, and then that little hook has to go into the wood there. So you have to be sure that you have enough wood here on the end for that to happen. So there's a little, if I release this, there's a little notch that I had to put here to accommodate that little hook on both sides. And I just used a drill bit and an X-Acto knife to help with getting out the extra wood there. But for these, I just glued on. I used a block of wood, and I used some shims, and then This is the back of the drawer, and I just screwed in some screws there to hold the block. The glue is holding the block, but then the screw is just helping it along. Okay, so then once your drawer is all complete, in order to reattach it to the glides, you just come over, the glides are extended, drop the drawer on, and then you have to kind of work it so that the little hooks clip into place, and you usually hear a little pop sound when that happens, and then it's solid in there. It's gonna just go ahead and go in. The first drawer slides that I installed, I had help with. As I said, it was my sister was helping me, and it took us about 8 hours to do the installation because the directions are not very clear at all. They're not specific, and we spent time watching videos. We did a lot of trial and error to get to the point where we actually had a successful installation. Now, the first drawers that we installed, we had the cabinets underneath, so that gave us some room to work, and we could work together. In this situation here, where we have a stack of drawers, it's a lot tighter space. There's really not room for 2 people to work. So I came up with a way to install these on my own. The only thing, though, that I need to warn you is you do need to be able to reach all the way to the back of the cabinet. So if you have short arms, you're going to need somebody who's got longer arms that can help you with the installation. Now, as you can see way back in the back here, I've attached 2 boards, and I made it so that they came all the way down to the bottom of the shelf. I did that on both sides. That's where the brackets are installed here in the back. If you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but I needed something to screw the brackets into, and I didn't have a stud back there when I was checking the wall. There's no stud. So I put some glue on the back of the boards. I screwed those into the back of the wall, and I figure the pressure is really, the brackets are here attached to the front, and they're attached to the back, so it would be really hard for those boards to pull forward. But the next thing I'm going to do is remove the plastic roller here that helped slide my old drawers in and out. I'm going to do that on both sides, and I'll remove this top slide here as well. Okay, so now the rollers are out, and because I'm working by myself, I needed a way to hold the back end of the bracket while I'm securing it on the front. And so what I did was take this little level and get the bubble centered, and then I drew a pencil line on the wall of the cupboard. And then I've been using just a piece of PVC pipe, and I used that. I've been cutting it down as needed. Actually, it's this one. I've been cutting it down as needed. So this was the height that I used for the bracket above. And then for this one, I'm going to go ahead and mark that with a pencil. And that way I can prop the back end of the glide at the back there with this, and while I'm screwing it in over here. Alright, so I have the PVC pipe taped back in the corner there, and that's to help hold this bracket while I screw it in here to the front section. Now I added the little extender using the white plastic piece that comes with the kit, and that allows for variation in the cabinet depth. And then right here in the front, you want to leave about 2 millimeters from the edge of the cabinet. You don't want it right flush with the cabinet. That's according to the directions. And you'll go ahead and drill a hole. I'll go ahead and drill holes here and add the screws, and then we'll continue. Okay, so I've screwed in the bracket here on the side, and I've moved the little PVC pipe that's holding up the back end. I've moved it forward, so I've got some room to mark the bracket on the back board there, so I can drill and screw in the back bracket. And I just wanted to double check before I marked and drilled to make sure that I'm still level here. And then to make sure that my bracket is still going straight back, I looked for something that was about the same distance from the wall, and this little plastic cup is about right. So I'm using that to just guide me to make sure that my bracket is pretty close to where it should be. The bracket allows for a little bit of play once the screws are in, but I want to get that first screw in fairly close to where it belongs. So if I need to adjust a little bit right or left, I can do that. So I only put one screw in for now. I'm going to wait until I've finished adding the slide to the other side. I'm just going to repeat the process on the other side. And then once I have that in place and I put the drawer in, then I'm going to finish marking and putting in the rest of the screws. Okay, so I have the front end of this glide screwed in, and now I've added my little spacer over on this side. I've put in a bar to keep the equal distance between the slides, and then double checking my level. Next, I'm going to pencil mark in the back and go ahead and drill and screw in the back and try and get those all screwed in. Next, we're going to add the drawer catches to the bottom of the drawer. And for this, they recommend no more than a 30-degree angle. I've added a little piece of tape because I don't want to drill so far that I go through the front of my drawer. And you want to make sure that the little bracket is held down tightly as you do this. Okay, now you want to extend the bracket here, the slides, and put the drawer on. And you're going to slide the drawer as far in as you can. That little hook needs to be touching the back of the drawer, and we're going to mark where that is. I'm just going to take a pencil and mark that because I have to carve out that little section. Okay, so now I'm just going to notch out the little area that we marked. Okay, so now I have the drawer notched over here on this side, and then again on this side here. And I have the slides extended, and I'm going to drop the drawer on. And then I'm going to use my hands. I'm pulling back on the lever, and I'm making sure that that little hook is engaged in that notch that I created. And sometimes you'll hear a little click when it's all in place. And once it's in place, then when you try and lift up on it, the drawer is secure there on the glides. Then I'm going to push it in, and I'm going to mark and measure, mark and drill the last holes and secure the back brackets. And then I'm just going to make any final adjustments, add the little knob here, and then hopefully when I'm all done, I'll have a nice soft closed drawer. Okay, so I went ahead and finished drilling and screwing in the brackets in the back of the drawer. So now I have 3 soft close drawers. And I just have one last one down here to try and finish up. So for the bottom drawer, I followed the same basic procedure, except for the bracket in the back. I turned that so that it's facing up. So now we have all 4 drawers with the soft close undermount. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helps save you some time with your drawer glide installation. Thank you for watching.